If you're a man in a relationship, there is something happening to you right now that no one warned you about. Not your friends, not your father, not relationship advice on the internet. Because it doesn't look like a problem. There's no fight, no betrayal, no dramatic turning point. Life feels stable. And that's exactly when it starts. Before we go any further, subscribe to this channel if you want truths most men only understand after the damage is done. This series is not comfort, it's clarity. Now listen carefully. Most men believe relationships fail when things go wrong. That's false. They fail when things go quiet. There is a hidden phase in relationships where nothing seems broken, but something essential is slowly removed from the man. Not taken, not stolen, removed with his cooperation. It begins the moment a man mistakes peace for progress. At first, everything feels mature. Arguments reduce, decisions become joint, life becomes smoother. You tell yourself, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. But beneath that calm, a shift is happening. Your role is changing. Not because she asked you to change, not because she demanded anything, but because you started adjusting without noticing. You start smoothing tension before it fully forms. You start choosing timing over truth. You start reading moods instead of asserting direction. You become good at maintaining emotional balance, and that skill feels like growth. But psychologically, it does something dangerous. It moves you from self-directed man to emotional regulator. Here's what men are never told. When you become the emotional stabilizer of the relationship, you stop being experienced as a source of direction. You become infrastructure, necessary, reliable, invisible. This is not about being too nice. That's a shallow explanation. This is about becoming predictable in your self-sacrifice. Women don't consciously decide to lose attraction here. There's no meeting, no announcement. The nervous system simply stops responding the same way. Because desire does not grow in environments where everything is already handled. Attraction requires something unresolved, not drama, not chaos, but self-contained energy. A man who feels complete, even when the relationship is slightly uncomfortable. Most men think stability is what women want. That's only half true. Stability is attractive when it comes from inner abundance, but when stability comes from fear of disruption, it feels like quiet pressure. Quiet pressure. You're not controlling her, but you're monitoring the emotional climate, and that changes how you are felt. This is the phase where men start asking questions they never asked before. Are we okay? Did I do something? Do you still feel the same? These questions don't sound weak. They sound caring. But psychologically, they do one thing. They place the relationship above the man. And the moment the relationship becomes the highest authority in your life, you lose polarity. Here's the part most men never realize. At this stage, a silent contract forms. Not spoken, observed. If you are always available, availability becomes expected. If you always adjust, adjustment becomes required. If you always explain yourself, clarity becomes your responsibility alone. You never agreed to these rules, but once they exist, breaking them feels like betrayal, even to you. This is why men feel trapped without being controlled. Nothing is forcing them. They just no longer feel permission to choose themselves. That's the danger of this phase. Not that she disrespects you, but that you slowly stop respecting your own direction. You don't feel dominated. You feel managed by circumstance. And when attraction fades here, women rarely say the truth. They say, I don't know what changed. I feel different. What changed is simple. You became readable. Not because you told her everything, but because your behavior stopped surprising even you. Your life began orbiting harmony, and harmony, when prioritized above self-respect, becomes suffocating. This is the moment where resentment quietly forms. Not loud resentment, the kind that feels like tiredness, like numbness, like a man who is present but not alive. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Resentment doesn't come from giving too much. It comes from giving without choice. When your yes stops being voluntary, your body rebels. That rebellion shows up as withdrawal, irritation, or emotional shutdown. And then men blame the relationship. But the relationship didn't do this. This phase did. Now here's the part that matters. Strong men don't escape this phase with conversations. They don't sit down and explain boundaries. They don't announce change. They reset the dynamic by recentering their life quietly. They stop managing emotions. They let silence exist. They reclaim routines. They move with direction again, not to punish, not to manipulate, but because self-abandonment ends. And here's the strange thing. When a man stops regulating the relationship and starts regulating himself, the relationship reorganizes around him. No threats, no ultimatums, just gravity returning to where it belongs. This video is the beginning of a series. Each part will expose one hidden phase men pass through without knowing it has a name. If this felt uncomfortably accurate, like the video, it tells the algorithm this isn't surface-level content. Subscribe if you want the next phase, because the next one explains why men start feeling anxious even when their partner hasn't changed. And share this with one man who keeps saying, "I don't know when I started feeling like this." Sometimes naming the phase is what saves years of quiet damage. Welcome to the next segment of this video. Here you will learn why men start feeling anxious, even when their partner hasn't changed. This is a crucial hidden phase for a man in a relationship, and due to its importance, more screen time has been allocated to it. Let's dive in. If you're a man in a relationship and lately you feel restless, tense, unsettled, even though nothing is wrong, no arguments, no cheating, no obvious disrespect, yet something inside you feels off, this video is for you, because this anxiety does not come from her changing. It comes from you losing internal authority over your own life, quietly, gradually, and without realizing it. Stay with me. This understanding will either calm your nervous system or expose the truth you've been avoiding. And before we begin, subscribe to this channel if you want clarity instead of comfort. Like the video so this reaches men who need it, and comment at the end if this hit close to home. Part 1. Anxiety is not always fear. Sometimes it's misalignment. Most men misunderstand anxiety. They think it means fear of loss, insecurity, neediness, weakness. That's false. Anxiety often appears when your actions no longer match your identity. Your nervous system is designed to protect alignment. When your life vision is unclear, when your decisions are reactive, when your purpose becomes secondary, your body responds with tension, not because you are weak, but because something essential is out of place. Men don't feel anxious because their partner changed. They feel anxious because their internal compass stopped leading. Part 2. The false assumption that creates confusion. Here's the lie most men believe. If my partner hasn't changed, then the problem must be in my head. So they analyze, they overthink, they self-diagnose, they search for reassurance. But anxiety does not come from imagination. It comes from loss of self-direction. When a man's life subtly starts orbiting his relationship, his nervous system reacts, not immediately, not dramatically, but persistently. This is not emotional instability. This is biological resistance to self-abandonment. Part 3. How men lose direction without noticing. No man wakes up and decides to become anxious. It happens through small shifts. You start checking in emotionally more often. You start asking instead of deciding. You start prioritizing harmony over truth. You start adjusting your energy to avoid disruption. Each adjustment feels harmless, even mature. But together they form a pattern. A man who once moved with certainty now moves with consideration. And consideration without leadership creates inner friction. Your body feels it first. Part 4. Why the nervous system reacts before the mind. Men are wired for direction, not control, not dominance. Direction. When a man does not know where he is going or feels that his direction is negotiable, the nervous system enters alert mode. That alertness feels like anxiety, restlessness, overthinking, irritation, emotional fatigue, not because danger is present, but because authority is missing. You are waiting for permission, even if no one explicitly asked you to. Part 5, the role of emotional monitoring. Here is the most overlooked cause of male anxiety in relationships: emotional monitoring. You start tracking her mood, her tone, her energy, her responsiveness, not consciously, instinctively. You become emotionally vigilant. This vigilance creates pressure. Your nervous system stays activated, not because she is unsafe, but because you are managing something that should not be managed. When a man becomes responsible for emotional stability, his body never rests. Part 6, why open communication often makes it worse. Men are told, talk about it, express your feelings, be vulnerable. But timing matters. When vulnerability comes from grounded selfhood, it builds intimacy. When it comes from anxiety, it leaks authority. Men don't calm anxiety by talking it out. They calm it by restoring direction. Talking without direction amplifies uncertainty. That's why many men feel worse after deep conversations. Nothing resolved, but authority was surrendered. Part 7, the hidden fear men don't name. Most men think they fear losing the relationship. They don't. They fear losing themselves inside it. The anxiety says, I don't feel like I'm choosing my life anymore. Even if everything looks fine on the surface, even if she hasn't changed, your body knows when you are no longer centered. Part 8, why women say, I don't know what changed. When men feel anxious, women often feel something else, a shift in polarity. They can't explain it, they just feel it. So they say, I don't know what changed. What changed is simple. The man stopped being self-contained, not withdrawn, not cold, but internally anchored. Anxiety replaced certainty. Monitoring replaced movement. Part 9, the internal conflict that creates anxiety. Here's the core conflict. You want to be yourself, but you also want harmony. When harmony wins consistently, your identity weakens, and the body rebels. Anxiety is not the enemy, it is a signal of internal compromise. Part 10, why this happens even in good relationships. This is why men get anxious even when she's kind, she's loyal, she hasn't changed, because goodness does not replace direction. Comfort does not replace purpose. Stability does not replace self-respect. A man cannot rest in a life he is not actively choosing. Part 11, the moment anxiety turns into resentment. If ignored, anxiety evolves into irritation, withdrawal, emotional numbness, not because the relationship is bad, but because the man feels internally trapped. Resentment forms when choice disappears. Part 12, why men blame the relationship. Instead of asking, where did I abandon myself? Men ask, is this relationship right for me? Sometimes the relationship is fine. The structure is not. Anxiety is not asking you to leave, it's asking you to reclaim authorship. Part 13, how strong men reset. Without drama, strong men do not confront anxiety emotionally. They do not announce changes. They do not seek reassurance. They recenter their life quietly. They reclaim routines, reduce emotional overavailability, stop monitoring moods, refocus on mission. Move with direction again, no ultimatums, no speeches, just action. The nervous system responds immediately. Part 14, why this restores calm. When a man leads himself again, anxiety drops, clarity returns. Presence deepens because the body feels safe, not because she reassured you, but because you did. Part 15, the Stoic frame. Stoicism teaches this clearly. You control your actions, not outcomes. An anxious man is trying to control outcomes. A grounded man controls his direction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Anxiety fades when authority returns inward. Part 16, the final truth. Men do not feel anxious because their partner hasn't changed. They feel anxious because they have, not into something weaker, but into something divided. Anxiety is the cost of self-abandonment. Clarity is the reward of self-return. If this explains something you couldn't name before, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with one man who feels anxious for no reason. Sometimes understanding the phase is what saves years of quiet damage. And remember, a man who governs himself never feels lost, even in love.